Foreign service officers and specialists represent America abroad. They are a diverse group of men and women from across the United States who travel to every corner of the globe to promote America's values, interests, and security. As we know all too well, America's diplomats sometimes work in dangerous circumstances. But they accept these risks in the service of our country and our values because they know the United States must continue to be a force for peace and progress in the world.
You know, a day in the life of an ambassador is hard to tell you because there are 200 of us around the world, and it might be very different depending on the country you're in, the issues in focus at the moment. Let's see, you wear jeans on the bottom, huh? Thailand suffered devastating floods. Our embassy team got together very quickly and said, what do we need to do? How do we need to help the government of Thailand and the people of Thailand? And how do we need to protect our embassy staff? You look like Andy Murray's mom.
Who is Andy Murray?
We just got our new ambassador. She got in last week. She's hit the ground running.
I've just been in the country for 1 week. I don't like staying in the office. I'm going to get out of the office as much as I can and actually see if what the United States government is doing is actually making a difference. And you'll do this whole thing, 750 houses in 7 months? Some of the things that we're doing here and the Haitians are doing here are this short of a miracle. What do you think? Is this exciting?
Yes, this is amazing. We're out in the field. We're not just writing papers. We're in there.
Exactly. Make sure that they see you. There you go. Put right on her. She's the first tour officer.
After the earthquake, the January 12th earthquake, I immediately applied, and thank God I got it, because it is truly my dream job. This is why I joined the Foreign Service. Pretty much I bring together Haitians and Americans, whether it's through educational programs, cultural programs, professional development. Haiti is very important to the U.S. government right now during this reconstruction phase, so we're pushed and pushed to get outside of our big embassy wall. This one's going on the embassy's website. Say cheese! Cheese!
Single most important thing that I put in my go bag are the instant packets, the single individual instant packets of Starbucks coffee, because there is nothing worse than getting Nescafe served to you when you need that caffeine jolt. My name is Mary Beth Goodman. I'm a Foreign Service officer currently serving at the White House as part of the National Security Council. It's very intimidating, as you can well imagine, going into the Oval Office and having that be when you're on. There's nothing like going into a meeting representing the United States and having the backing of the United States government, you know, as you're sitting there trying to negotiate or discuss issues.
Right now we're in one of the task force rooms at the Operations Center. At the Operations Center there are 40 different watch officers. We respond to crises immediately, like an earthquake or a bomb threat or a political coup. At the same time, what we're constantly doing is connecting the senior leadership of the State Department with other world leaders. In 1961, when then President Kennedy was dealing with the Bay of Pigs crisis, he realized that he needed somebody with round-the-clock monitoring of the current situation, and a gentleman came up to the Operations Center, set up a bunk bed, and began monitoring it 24/7. And since then, it's been continuously running. The craziest thing about the office is that we always have to be there, right? And so if someone were to go to the bathroom, they have to announce it. So when you stand up, you say, I'm going blue. And you have to flip that blue light on. So that blue light right now means that someone's in the restroom.
I'm a press officer here at the U.S. Embassy in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I am responsible for speaking to the press. I'm the spokesperson for the embassy. I'm here to communicate messaging about what the United States does here in Argentina and around the world. Today we have our political counselor here. He's going to talk to this group of students and professors from the University d'Itala about the elections that are coming up in the U.S. Getting officers out of the embassy and out into the universities and talking to people is really one of my favorite parts.
I'm one of the political advisors here at the U.S. Mission. I cover mostly countries that have been affected by the Arab Spring, so worked on Libya and Syria. Been here for about 2 years now. Overseas, you're focusing on one culture, one government. The big difference in New York is that you're dealing with 193 member states and all the different cultural issues that come up there, different ways of working, and also we work in a very intense sort of environment on the Security Council, so sometimes those cultural differences sort of come through.
Before joining the Foreign Service, I was the Director of Communications for Liz Claiborne. After September 11th, I was reading the paper in New York City, sitting in a cafe, and saw a letter from Colin Powell asking people to consider the Foreign Service, and so I decided to look into it. Studying for the written test was kind of a hard thing to do because you don't really know what to study, so I read a short history of our world. I studied, geography for a little bit, and then I just kind of went in cold and took the test.
When I was finishing college, I was finally able to take the test. I sat down and I gave it my best effort, and I didn't pass.
I thought I was just going to take it as a practice test to see if I could maybe get in some point in the future. I ended up passing, and took the oral exam a few months later and passed that as well.
I knew I wanted to join the Foreign Service, took the test again. Didn't pass that time either.
And I was totally shocked when they called and said, you passed the exam.
If you don't pass the first time, don't feel bad. It took me 3 tries.
The people in the room are looking at, is this somebody we can work with? Not, is this a know-it-all? Is she pompous? Is she so full of herself?
Because you go in with certain expectations, etc., and then you get there and it's like, oh, okay, it wasn't that bad. And then you realize this is for real. My life is about to change. And because the Foreign Service is not just a job, and it's not just a career, it's a lifestyle. Your entire life changes.
So for all of these successful Foreign Service applicants, we all attend the Foreign Service Institute in Arlington, Virginia for about 18 months. And there you learn anything you can possibly imagine you'd need to know to be a member of the State Department. You learn career development, country and region-specific studies, and there's even an on-site fake jail for us to test out those real-life situations.
Oh my gosh.
Probably most of our people who come in as Foreign Service officers have not been in a jail before, hopefully. So one will play the American in distress, someone will play the consular officer visiting from the post, another person may play a foreign official. This is a visa simulation training room to give our students a real life experience as they prepare to go off and do consular work overseas.
I'm a first tour officer. Haiti is my first post. I've done roughly 10,000 interviews. I've seen it all. You start to become a human lie detector.
I think the language instruction at the State Department is probably one of the best kept secrets. My first assignment was in Indonesia, and I got assigned to learn Indonesian for a year. And I left after 11 months being able to speak Indonesian well enough to have a meeting, to make friends. So I think that fear is one that the department really helps you overcome.
Since I've been in the Foreign Service, I've learned Spanish, I've learned French, and I'm now studying Thai. ดิฉันขอต้อนรับทุกท่านที่บ้านดิฉันในวันนี้นะคะ
The requirement of the Foreign Service is that you be worldwide available. And so what's going through your head is, if I get sent to the one place I don't want to go, am I comfortable being there? So you just get really kind of humbled and quiet, waiting. We have what are called career development officers. They are your kind of Foreign Service guidance counselors, more or less. They huddle together once everybody has submitted their preferences, and they just kind of hash it out. And then in a big ceremony toward the very end of the orientation, everybody comes in, sits you down, and they give you your assignments. So you have no clue where you're going coming into it. You've submitted your preferences, and it's kind of you're walking on eggshells until you figure out what happens. It's called Flag Day.
Initially, I was a little bit bummed out because it was Mexico City, and Mexico City felt so close to the United States. But once I got to Mexico, I looked back on that moment and laughed at how naive I was, because everything about our relationship with Mexico is so fascinating. It's probably one of the most important relationships we have in this world.
I got sent to Matamoros, Mexico, which is right on the border with Texas. And when I arrived, Matamoros was in the middle of a very deadly drug cartel war. There'd be tanks coming down the street and there'd be guys pointing guns right at you, and those were the good guys.
I wanted to go somewhere where I knew that I would be able to roll up my sleeves and get a lot of work done, and where you could have some serious impact on a lot of the policy as it's being developed on the ground. So I've done tours in Mali, I've served a lot of time in Pakistan, and I've also spent a great deal of time in Afghanistan.
The Haitian government is really engaged. They're committed to stability. They're committed to making sure people have the opportunity to emerge from poverty. The working relationships that we've developed are really taking off now.
If you take a chance to look at the State Department mission statement, it's pretty neat. It says the State Department's objectives are to promote democracy, prosperity, and security, not just in places where we have American interests, but in the entire world.
So I'm wrapping up a lot of my projects here because I'm moving to Vatican City. And that's one of the biggest perks about being in the Foreign Service, is that every couple of years you get to reinvent yourself, you get to start in a new job in a new country.
I'm part of a tandem couple. My husband is also in the Foreign Service, and we have 2 kids, 7-year-old twins, who were born in Mexico City, lived in Zimbabwe, lived in Bogota, Colombia, and now they live here in Buenos Aires where they're in the 1st grade. The State Department does a good job of creating a family no matter where you go. Other Foreign Service officers, we all kind of take care of each other. We form relationships that feel like family.
If you're interested in an adventure, in a career that's going to be ever-changing and one in which you'll get to represent your country, serve your fellow countrymen, then the Foreign Service is probably right for you.
One of the things that I think is so amazing about the Foreign Service is that it attracts people who are active and proactive and who want to make a difference.
You can't change the world every day, but I go to sleep a lot of times feeling like I've done something special.
The challenges of the 21st century offer something for everyone in the Foreign Service, and they also demand a wide range of skills and experience. We need experts in public diplomacy and crisis response, in public health and food security, in arms control and police training, in operations and management, in IT security and medical services, and we need you now. Visit careers.state.gov to learn more.